Thanks for joining us on What Matters This Week. This Sunday, Jared Carter is here from the Vermont Law School. Jared, appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's kind of analyze some of the issues, some of the results that we saw on town meeting day. First of all, in Burlington, incumbent Mayor Moreau Weinberger won re-election by a very slim margin. We're talking 129 votes. He called it humbling in his victory speech on Tuesday night. Is this the biggest wake-up call, do you think, for the mayor when it comes to reaching out and working with progressives?
Well, I think absolutely it is. If you watch over the years, and this will be his fourth term, the margins have gotten smaller. And I think what that says to me is, in reality, Burlington is just divided in many respects as the rest of the country. Practically a 50-50 split, although there were multiple candidates here. So I do think this changes the dynamic. And I think both sides are now in a position where they're probably going to be better off trying to come to a mutual solution to the issues that confront the city.
Okay. Let's stay in Burlington because voters approved basically all of the ballot issues that were in front of them. They approved ranked choice voting, just cause evictions, and the cannabis sales. What stands out to you there when it comes to those amendments?
Well, I think all three of them have the potential to really shake things up in Burlington. Certainly retail marijuana, many cities and towns in Vermont passed that. We're still a couple of years off before you walk down to a retail marijuana shop and make a purchase because of what has to happen at the state level. But I think Burlington wants to get out in front there. I think with respect to instant runoff voting, important to point out that only applies to city council, but I think that could have significant impacts on who and how city council elections move forward in the future. And then with just cause eviction, obviously many Burlingtonians, students, the elderly, working folks pay rent, and rent, don't own in Burlington. And so changes to the way that the rental laws operate also, I think, has the opportunity to have tremendous impacts both on tenants and on landlords.
You mentioned that marijuana question. I think we're at 25 or so, towns that this was sort of on the ballot for on town meeting day. A majority approved the measure. So far, Linden, Newport, and Richmond said no. What stands out for you, or what surprised you here when it comes to some of these results?
Well, I think what's going on and why you saw the majority of towns and cities that looked at this say yes is looking for ways to help grow the economy. And look, we've been in a pandemic for a year. We're going to be in this for some time. Moving forward, how do we provide economic opportunities? And if you look at states across the country that have moved in the direction of retail marijuana, there have been both tax and job benefits in many respects. And so I think that's really what these towns and cities in Vermont are looking at, the ability to get out in front, to brand. Again, we're a couple of years off. The state has to go through its process. There hasn't even been, I believe, a regulatory board created, which then has to come up with the rules and regulations. This is just saying these towns and cities are ready to go when it happens.
Yeah, really the first step in what is a long process. You alluded to that. What's next then as far as how the state handles it?
So there's a regulatory board, a state regulatory board that has to be created. Folks have to be appointed to that. And then they have to adopt rules and regulations because obviously this is going to be a regulated industry. And so without those rules and regulations, cities aren't going to be able to move forward. Permits aren't going to be able to be issued, and people aren't going to be able to open their doors and do business. So again, I think we're a couple of years, or at least a year and a half out from that happening. And we might see legislative activity in the interim now that so many towns have jumped on board.
You spoke with our Jolie Sherman about some of the Act 46 issues that came up on Tuesday. Some Vermont towns who previously voted to merge years ago want to leave those unified districts. Is Act 46 working then, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, I suppose. In some respects, yes. Obviously, lots of towns have consolidated, lots of school districts have consolidated in response largely to declining enrollments. On the other hand, for some towns, it hasn't made either economic sense or community sense. Because look, when you close a school in a community, that has impacts on the community. They might not be bottom line dollar impacts, but it certainly changes the dynamic of a community. And I think some towns and cities in Vermont are looking at it that way, either economically or as an impact on their community. And there is a law, I believe from the 1960s, that allows towns and cities who have a school to essentially decouple from a district, to end that relationship. And it doesn't give the State Board of Education discretion to say no. So that's what we saw happening on town meeting day. Some of these towns saying, we don't want to do this anymore. Most of them ended up saying, yes, we want to stay in, or no, we're not going to let these other towns out. But I think that continues to be a real contentious issue when it comes to school, education, state and local control.
Did the pandemic have any effect on some of those decisions?
Well, I think the pandemic had a huge effect on town meeting day writ large. I mean, let's be real. It was town meeting day in many communities with no town meeting. It was Zoom, it was ballots. And so I think that certainly changed the dynamic of the debate, the discussions that usually happen across the state. And so I think, no question, that's going to have an impact on the way the votes played out. And I think it probably happened with respect to this education issue as well.
Not the unique Vermont tradition that we're used to, for sure.
Exactly.
Jared Carter, appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.